So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And recently, in the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer, they showed a glimpse of a brand new Mario Kart game, and it looks very interesting from what we've seen. And the most notable part about it is that it will have 24 racers in a single race, which is an incredible new addition, and I feel like that makes way for a lot of possibilities. And one of those is a massive roster. So in this video, I wanted to discuss the possibilities of new characters in Mario Kart 9 as well as like returning characters. So I came up with a list of 96 different characters that could possibly be in this game and could possibly make up this roster, since I think 96 characters makes a lot of sense. It's double the current roster in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, since there is double the racers in a race. And joining me in this video is Fawful the Great 64.
Hello!
But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is the returning characters from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Since we saw characters like, unfortunately, Baby Rosalina, I have a feeling that the entire Mario Kart 8 Deluxe roster will return, even though some of these characters will be less than ideal, like the crossover characters, like Link, Isabelle, Inkling, different things like that, even though they're not really necessary, and they definitely kind of take the place of, like, some potential Marioverse characters. I have a feeling that they're probably gonna stay, though I think they have a smaller chance of staying than characters like Pink Gold Peach or Tanuki Mario. I think those clones will unfortunately stay because of the fact that they might be doing an ultimate roster here. But what do you think?
So, personally, I think that the crossover characters, I would rather they not be there. I would have personally made it so that those characters are replaced with other Marioverse newcomers. I do have a few ideas, like for that could like be added to the newcomer list in place of those. But also, like, I don't know. I feel like they might not be back just because, like, I kind of feel like if they were back, they would have shown them in the initial wave of characters, because those were kind of like something Nintendo liked to promote if they were there. And I don't know. I feel like if it was... And I always felt like if it was going to be a Nintendo Kart, that would be, like, if they were going to continue coming back, it would only be if they, like, actually just completely rebranded Mario Kart to Nintendo Kart and went full Smash Bros, which clearly they're not doing based on what we've seen.
I'm so glad that they're not.
Yeah, so it is unfortunate that Baby Rosalina is back and Pink Gold Peach... Well, Pink Gold Peach isn't back that we know of, but, like, I feel like she's probably going to be. And, like, I don't know. I don't mind those coming back, personally, as long as it's like a everyone is here type of thing with the Mario characters.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's, you know, they unfortunately are part of the series history, so... But, like... Otherwise, I kind of feel like it should just be like an everyone is here with the Mario Kart characters who have been in past Mario Kart games. Like, Tour brought back a lot of them, but it didn't bring back all of them.
Yeah. And also, on the topic of Mario Kart Tour, like, that game also didn't bring back the crossover characters, so I think, like, that definitely lowers their chance of reappearing in Mario Kart 9, just because they kind of axed them there. They might do it in Mario Kart 9. I just added them to the list for the purpose that if they actually do end up doing, like, every single Mario Kart character, not just every single Mario Kart character, but I don't know. I do think their chances are lower than any of the other 8 Deluxe characters. But moving on to Mario Kart Tour characters, I could definitely see the rest of the remaining Mario Kart Tour characters being added here, like King Bob-omb, Hammer Bro, Charge and Chuck, Monty Mole, Nabbit, Poochie, and Dixie Kong. I think those definitely make a lot of sense. I would actually love Poochie and Dixie Kong specifically, and King Bob-omb. I feel like King Bob-omb is one of the most interesting safe choices, I would say, and one of the most interesting to play as. And Poochie is actually, like, one of the most interesting picks for, like, Mario Kart characters ever, along with, like, Funky Kong. So, I would definitely love to see Poochie.
And Nabbit, actually, like, there's already been, like, imagery of Nabbit in Mario Kart 9. There's like a logo of him in some of the footage, so that kind of tends to suggest that he's probably going to be there.
Yeah. I definitely think that's pretty likely. I think all the tour characters are definitely pretty likely. Even ones like Dixie Kong, like, they've been pushing out Donkey Kong so much that I feel like they're going to have, like, a lot of the DK cast here.
I would be pretty disappointed if at the end of the day we didn't get Dixie Kong for this game, because it just feels like it's like they added her in Tour, and it rounds out the Donkey Kong Country kind of cast. So, like, why would they not?
Yeah. And then moving on to, like, characters from, like, other Mario Kart games, we have Donkey Kong Jr., Paratroopa, Rob, and Honey Queen. Rob is, like, one of, like, technically, he is considered a crossover character, but would actually be really interesting, because, like, he is kind of more associated with, like, Mario Kart DS, and, like, because that was before he was even added to Smash. So I think, like, he's definitely a lot more interesting and has a little more identity than, like, the other crossover characters, I would say.
Yeah, and he basically, he doesn't really have, he's not from any other franchise per se. He's more of like a Nintendo system character, kind of like the Mii's. So I really wouldn't consider him to be like any less fitting for Mario Kart than the Mii's are, and nobody talks about the Mii's in the same way like we talk about the crossover characters.
Yeah.
So, like, I was surprised that Mario Kart Tour didn't bring back Honey Queen, because they had, like, her emblem.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They had, like, her emblem. And I used to be, like, the biggest Honey Queen hater back in the day.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've kind of warmed up to her, because she is actually more of the kind of thing I would want out of Mario Kart picks than, like, what they later started adding.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I actually kind of want Honey Queen to return, honestly. It's like, I mean, this time it obviously wouldn't be replacing Waluigi, because we already know Waluigi is going to be in the game. So I think, like, Honey Queen would actually be, like, a pretty interesting character. Like, it's definitely one of the most interesting and weird Mario Kart picks, and I just want to see more of that.
She could even, like, have her little bee subjects hovering around her this time.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. And then, like, finally, I kind of wanted to talk about Donkey Kong Jr. Like, I think it would be cool if they, I know, like, it kind of seemed unlikely, but I think it would be really cool if they actually made a 3D model for Donkey Kong Jr. I know Nintendo loves to forget about Donkey Kong Jr. and just made him the, like, this, like, the pixel art in Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah, like, I feel like the Nintendo considers him to be, like, kind of a past character, and they seem to only be interested in showing him in the context of how he looked in the past. Like, it would be as if in an alternate universe where Mario never became the mascot of Nintendo, and then years later in whatever series Nintendo did make into their mascot, they bring Mario back, but he's still his Donkey Kong sprite. Like...
yeah. Yeah, it's, like, pretty weird. So, I mean, like, with all the cartoony, stylized characters kind of pulling from the classic designs in Mario Kart 9, I think it would make a lot of sense to have Donkey Kong Jr. If there was any time to bring him back fully, it would be now. So I think it would be nice to see him, even though it's kind of unlikely.
I think Donkey Kong's design in the new Mario Kart in particular actually looks like it gives off some of the energy that Donkey Kong Jr. had. So for
Yeah.
that reason, I feel like it would be easier for them to add him because they could just use that as a base and you know make a model for him that way because they clearly are making new models now anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but moving on, we're going to talk about the newcomer ideas we have. But we're also going to mention, like, their potential weight class they could be as well. So that's, like, the remaining, like, characters here. Like, so the next few characters we have are mainline characters. And we have Toadsworth, of course.
Yes.
Even though it would be unlikely, I'd love to see Toadsworth return. And I was thinking he could be like a medium weight class character, because the other Toads are like lightweight, so it would be interesting to have like a medium like weight Toad, because like Toadsworth has like the
Yes.
staff and everything just to make him a little heavier, I guess.
like-
So
Free him, please. It's a crime how much he's just been kind of shafted over the years.
yeah.
I just, and he wouldn't even take that much effort to add. Like it's not that hard to edit a Toad model to make Toadsworth. Like there's clearly an active choice to not use him lately, and I hope they stop with that because he's a memorable character, and I want to see him playable in this game.
Yeah. And then I know these characters are kind of meh, but I think I think they have a high likely to be added, like Boom Boom and Pom Pom, and they would both be heavyweight. I feel like it's not really a problem that they'd be taking up like slots here because they're at least distinct characters. So I would see like that's okay. Like those are fine choices, I would say, for characters since they were in like some recent titles like Mario Tennis and different things. But then we have like Pianta. I want to see Pianta. I think it would be pretty. Imagine if there was like a Pianta character with like a Don Pianta alt. That would be so cool.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. That especially if like alts are like handled in kind of like how Smash Bros handles them, where they don't actually change what character you're playing as.
Yeah.
Because we noticed that Peach is actually not wearing her biker outfit when she's on a bike now, so hopefully that means that that's an alt, and you can switch to that, and maybe even have that in a cart, like...
Yeah. And another character, like actually one pick from the Galaxy games that I'd want to see is Lubba. I think that would be more interesting than just a regular Luma, because I think like a regular Luma might be a bit too small to have, but Lubba seems to be
Yeah.
just about the right size, I would say. And I had this one, for like a medium weight class, because it's like, even though Lubba's like a big Luma, I guess a big Luma would just be like medium weight, I guess. So, like, I think like Lubba would be a pretty cool character to see.
I mean, technically, he could be a lightweight, because he's technically floating.
Though Rosalina is kind of floating too, but she's a heavyweight, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And King Boo is also a heavyweight as well, so that's why I have some fairly like floaty-esque characters as heavyweights. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know one mutual on Blue Sky in particular who would be really happy about Lubba being added. I'm not sure if you know who I'm talking about, but they used to have an account called like I think they were like Lubba Super Mario Galaxy 2 or something like that, like Lubba Facts or something like that.
Yeah,
Awesome Lubba Facts.
I remember that. I didn't know that I didn't know that they used a different name now, though.
But,
Because I remember that account.
yeah,
I don't
but
remember seeing them recently.
yeah, I know she would definitely be happy with that choice there. But moving on, from Mario Odyssey, I have a couple choices here. But we have Cappy, who would definitely be a lightweight, I would say. And Toasterainen would be a medium weight. I chose Toasterainen as like a playable NPC because I always like the designs of them, and I think they would be really cool. as like a playable character. I guess any of the Odyssey NPCs could work, except for like the new Donkers, because that would just be kind of weird. But like, the Toasterainen, I think would be pretty cool, as well as Cappy. Cappy is definitely overdue for a playable appearance, honestly. I know he's a little small, but I think like his design is distinct enough and he's memorable enough to be a playable character where they could kind of just make it work. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I think Cappy is kind of easy, a little bit easier to see, slightly scaled up, and driving a cart, but still looking, I guess, right.
Yeah, normal.
Compared to like other small characters like a Luma, it would look weird to see a big Luma that's not Lubba.
Yeah. Moving on to Wonder, I'd actually like to see 3 characters from this game, because there's actually like 3 very notable characters in this game that would work really well. Prince Florian, the Poplins, and Talking Flower. They would all be lightweights, but I just think like Prince Florian, I know he's a little small, but I could still see him working in a similar way that Cappy could. I don't know, I just still think he could kind of work. I don't think it would look too weird if he scaled up slightly, but just because he has like a distinct design, and I think he could work kind of well.
Yeah, I think he has hands and stuff, like, so you could scale him up and it would look... I could picture it.
Yeah. And then the Poplins would already be like a good size to have. And then Talking Flower would just be a really funny choice. I just really want it.
I'd just like to point out that in this document, Talking Flower is listed as number 69.
Nice.
and they would just say that, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be so cool if the Talking Flower just talked, just
Yeah.
like, and just had used all of the different exclamations they had in Wonder, and just had those popping up during the race.
Yeah.
Like that would be
Honestly,
so cool.
Honestly, I know we're about to get into like a few of my dream characters, but Talking Flower is honestly one of my most wanted characters, I would say. It would just be so perfect to play as him. That would just be so incredible, honestly. I was just like...
Yeah.
And I could actually see them, like... I could actually see him being like a potential like thing they might actually likely do in Mario Kart 9. Like just due to Wonder's popularity, I just like I could definitely see them like adding Talking Flower in the game. Oh my gosh, I just really want Talking Flower. It would just be such a funny, crazy pick.
Yeah, one other thing about Talking Flower, though, is I think Talking Flowers could be an amazing part of the game, even if they didn't make them playable.
Yeah.
Because imagine if there was, like, some, like, beside the finish line of a race that actually make commentary on who's crossing the finish line first and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, like
Or just have them around saying, like, ooh, that's gotta hurt, and someone gets hit by a shell.
Yeah. Just imagine, like, they might actually do a Wonder-themed track in this game, because, like, they did Yoshi's Island for, like, the Booster Course Pass in Mario Kart Tour, and I'd love to see, like, a track like that handled for, like, a couple areas in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That would be amazing, and having, like, the Talking Flowers in them. Oh, I really hope they do that. But...
Heck, they could actually do the same. Do make a playable one and one's aside on the side of the track.
Yeah.
Because I think weren't there like red colored ones too?
Yeah.
So they could make that the playable one, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And differentiate it that way.
Yeah. And then the final mainline character I have is Ninji, and which I think would probably be a medium weight just to kind of balance it out. But Ninji is actually my main in Super Mario Party Jamboree, and I feel like he's like one of the most interesting enemy picks, I would say. Just due to how like weird Ninji is compared to like the rest of the enemies. He's like probably like the most interesting basic enemy pick, I would say. So I kind of hope they add Ninji in there. That's like the one like regular enemy that like I hope they add, just due to how like interesting like Ninji's design is, and just like how like funny it would be. I kind of like how they've been adding him to like some recent like games and everything, but they honestly,
Yeah.
I even have an idea for an alt Like, imagine if they do the purple design from Super Mario All-Stars. That would
Oh,
just be
that would
pretty
be cool.
interesting. But,
Yeah.
yeah. So, moving on, we have some of the characters that we kind of hope for the most. And those are the RPG characters. I really hope there are some RPG characters in Mario Kart 9 due to the fact that the roster seems to be, will likely be kind of expansive. But there's a lot of possibilities due to the fact that there are so many interesting characters in the Mario RPGs. There's just so much untapped potential here. And it's really unfortunate that they
Yeah.
haven't really dove much into it. Like, it's like, I really wish more fans would be vocal about this, because I feel like there is definitely, like, a lot of possibilities with RPG characters.
Yeah, I kind of feel like because Nintendo hasn't done it before, a lot of fans have just kind of been like, oh, it's a pipe dream, it'll always be a pipe dream, why even talk about it? But I think that's in turn kind of caused Nintendo to not really see much demand for it.
Yeah,
And like I kind of feel like the Mario RPG fan bases in general, like even the dedicated fan bases of the Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi games and all that, have kind of just accepted and just limited their discussion to the characters as they appear in the RPGs and don't really don't often dare to suggest that any of them should appear outside of that. And I think that's a shame. These are some of the most interesting characters in the Mario universe. Why should the rest of the franchise completely ignore their existence?
yeah, like, I really don't want these characters to be forgotten. I really want them to be preserved in, like, a roster, kind of like how a lot of obscure video game characters are preserved in the roster of, like, the Smash games, like Earthbound
Yeah,
and things like that. Like, that
yeah,
could do this.
that's exactly how I think Mario Kart rosters should treat the Mario universe.
Yeah. But the characters that we have here, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Paper Mario picks. So we have Goomboss for the heavyweight, which was, I actually think that's a very plausible character because of the fact that he was in a Mario Kart game, but not as a playable character, just as a boss in mission mode in Mario Kart DS. Then Goombella as a lightweight, Vivian as a lightweight, Count Bleck and Tippy together, which would be a pretty interesting idea, kind of like how Luma was with Rosalina in Mario Kart Wii. You actually brought that up to me
Yeah,
before we started discussing. That would be like a medium weight. Dimentio as a medium weight. Those are kind of what I have in mind for the Paper Mario reps.
yeah, like I think those are probably close to what I would pick out for the Paper Mario reps as well. Um, I feel like Count Bleck and Tippy and Dimentio would need a bit more of a redesign to fit in with the rest of the characters because Super Paper Mario's characters are like very stylized.
Yeah.
But if they went through with that, it would be amazing. Sadly, I'm not really expecting that to happen. I'm hoping for something from the RPGs.
Yeah.
Not really convinced. Not really convinced like we're gonna get as deep as like stuff from Super Paper Mario, but it would be amazing if we did though. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. If I were to pick any character out of like all the ones that we've mentioned from Paper Mario, if Nintendo just randomly came up to us and said, "Oh, pick one Paper Mario character to represent in Mario Kart," it's Vivian. It's Vivian.
Yeah.
Vivian is the perfect.
Yeah.
She's more distinct than most of them. Like she wouldn't be like. I mean, Goombella would be amazing, but like. I think like Vivian would probably be like the best as like a distinct character that would also easily fit within the regular Mario style. And she's just such a great character in general as well. Just my favorite character of
Yeah.
all time, tied with Kirby. So I would just love
I,
to see her in Mario
I
Kart.
just I don't get why so many people say that her design and generally the designs of the characters in Thousand Year Door in general are fundamentally incompatible with the 3D Mario style. Like, there's a lot of people that have said that just because they've only ever seen these characters in Paper Mario style, and the
Yeah.
only 3D depictions of them are fan made. And you know, fan made models are great, but sometimes there is, you can often tell that they're fan made,
Yeah.
and like that might be part of why these people think, oh, they cannot fit in the 3D Mario style. Look at these attempts; they don't look. They
Yeah.
you can tell they're fan made, but like. You really think that that is a design that Nintendo would be incapable of translating to 3D? Like, they
Yeah.
translated Mario to that style, why couldn't they translate someone designed in that style out of it? Like, it doesn't make sense to me why people think that, oh, the design is too different.
Exactly.
People have said that about Mario and Luigi characters too, actually, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's just crazy, like, especially, like, now that brothership happened as well. But like, yeah, it's just, like, so many characters over the years, like, from Nintendo have been translated to, like, not just Mario, but basically everything in general have been translated from 2D to 3D, so I don't know why Paper Mario can't also do this. Like, just like you said...
They used to do it. They used to do it, Goombas.
Waka. The Star Spirits? Yeah.
And the Star Spirits, yeah. They used to do it all the time. Well, not all the time, but like a handful of times. Also, the Koopa Trolls in Mario Pinball Land.
Yeah, and I remember people bringing up the fact that, oh, those characters do work, but some characters don't. I don't get that point. Like, if some of them, then why not all of them? I don't get how some characters just somehow don't work.
The only characters that I very slightly see the argument about is the ones from Super Paper Mario. But my solution is just their designs can be reworked to be more organic and rounded and stuff to look to fit in with the rest of the cast. I don't like I just I think that's also the source of a lot of people that hate on Super Paper Mario's visual style, but
yeah,
that's
Super
a
Paper
different
Mario
topic.
enemy design, the 7,000 gifs on Tenor about that, but yeah. But moving on, we have the Super Mario RPG characters, and I think the likely ones are obviously Geno and Mallow. Now I have Geno as medium and Mallow as lightweight. I mean, I guess it would make sense to have Geno as lightweight since he's a doll, but I'm just going by the fact that he's about the same size as Mario in the game. It would balance it out a little bit so there wouldn't be too many lightweights, and he also like wood as well, which like I guess would be a little heavy if he's like Mario's size. So I think that makes sense. But the thing is, with the Super Mario RPG characters, the remake just released like recently. I know it's been over a year, but that's still not that long ago, and those actually had 3D models for all of the characters.
And it's just in the core Mario design, too.
Yeah, and it wouldn't really take that much effort to kind of scale them up and, like, make them, like, a little better in Mario Kart 9, especially since Mario Kart 9 is going to be more stylized. They wouldn't really have to do that much, because Super Mario RPG was already kind of a little cartoony and stylized, despite sticking close to the core Mario style.
I personally don't think the models for Geno and Mallow would need to be altered to be in a game with Mario's regular model. Like, they look fine, in my opinion. Like, Mario was shrunken down in that game, but I don't think the models of the original characters were designed in such a way that would look weird if Mario was using his normal model next to them.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at the models here, they're really, like, basically the same as they were in the original game. And, like, they would still be very compatible, like, alongside, like, the regular Mario designs and everything. So, yeah, I definitely think they could work here. But, yeah. So moving on to the Mario and Luigi characters, we have, of course, your favorite, Fawful, who would probably be a lightweight if it's, like, just Fawful. And then Antasma as a heavyweight, Connie and Snoutlet from Brothership as a lightweight. I think that would be cool to have, like, Snoutlet, like, along with Connie. And then, the Extension Core as separate characters with X as a lightweight, 10 as a medium weight, and Shun as a heavyweight. Actually, that makes a lot of sense, kind of looking at that, like having one in each weight class, like with the Extension Core. But yeah.
Oh, definitely. Like, oh my goodness, the amount of people that say Fawful, and I guess Phantasma fits this conversation too, can't get in because they're dead.
That's ridiculous.
It's like, okay, it's Mario Kart. They just pull they. So many characters contradict each other. It's like you're telling me that baby Rosalina can exist, but yeah, it makes no sense.
And you can race as Bowser's dead body alongside Bowser, like
yeah,
or a gold version of Mario alongside Mario.
Like Bowser straight up has competitions with his own corpse. It's just like.
I know the Mario lore experts will come up with some weird theory that they used the double cherry and killed him to have him race.
They always do.
Yeah.
They always do. They I swear they always have an intricate explanation for how every single character that's already been put in Mario Kart makes total sense and fits with the timeline. Just so that they can uphold the timeline and say no Fawful.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny, when I remember arguing to like a bunch of these people about like Fawful, and they kept coming up with mental gymnastics about every single point that I made. Like, I made one point saying like, oh, what if they made a clone of it? Why would they ever make a clone of Fawful? And then another one is like, oh, what if it's an alternate timeline where somehow Fawful just wants to race alongside him? There is no alternate timelines! And even though there are technically alternate timelines in every universe.
I don't really think that Mario Kart should be subjected to that kind of questioning. It just limits the amount of characters, and a lot of like. We talked about it earlier. We listed Dimentio earlier, so like that applies to that too. Like they're fan favorites. So what more do they need other than being fan favorites?
Yeah,
you know that's really all they should need to get into a game like this. Mario Kart isn't like known for its deep lore.
Yeah, imagine if Smash Bros had to try to justify every character like that. Like,
yes, exactly. That's exactly why I think it's stupid, because I've always seen the Mario Kart roster as something of a Smash Bros style celebration of the Mario franchise in particular. Just kind of notable characters from Mario's legacy. That's it. No like, oh, timeline, here's how it works in the timeline. Mario doesn't even really have that much of a rigid timeline. I can understand not wanting Fawful to come back in the future Mario and Luigi games, because those do have kind of a very solid timeline that you need to respect. But like outside that, who cares which game you pull a character from, or if they died at some point at the end of it? Like, Fawful is still one of the most iconic characters from that series.
Yeah.
So like, why? I think a major villain from 2 games in the series, and
even
who became the main villain in one of them.
Yeah.
And both of his big appearances got remakes too. Like, you know, when the Mario and Luigi remakes were coming out, I really did think that this was Fawful's big return. This was gonna be his ticket. But then everybody just collectively yawned at the Mario and Luigi remakes, so yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want to see Fawful at some point, because like, outside of the brothership characters, which I would definitely love to see too, we're gonna get into those in a little bit, but like, Fawful is like the perfect Mario and Luigi rep. Like, Starlo is kind of too small, kind of like the Lumas, and while it would be nice to see her, it would be a little more awkward to kind of try to get her as, like, playable.
I think the best way to, if they wanted to put in Starlo, would be to also put in Dreambert and have him be the driver and have Starlo kind of hover around like Luma does with Rosalina.
Yeah. But yeah, just Fawful would just be such a great rep. And Tasma as well. But going into the brothership characters, those make so much sense since they already have 3D models. And you were saying that they wouldn't be that hard to translate into like the core Mario style. Like, they wouldn't really need...
because the outlines on those models are actually just like generated by the game. They're not in the models themselves. So like, all you really have to do is redo the texturing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they really don't need that much like work to get them to work and like Mario Kart 9 and everything. And like there's just like so many possibilities of what they can do. Like I like the idea of like Connie like with Snoutlet kind of going along with it, and then like the extension core. The extension core is like the like some of the most perfect characters to have from Brothership. They're just I love those characters. They're just like some of my favorite like
they're so silly.
Yeah. And I know like for like some kind of villain rep from Brothership, I feel like Zocket really wouldn't work if you know the spoilers of it, just due to like I know like they could get it to work, but it just wouldn't really make as much sense to me. Just kind of knowing the whole context of Zocket. I know we were talking about not like getting into story stuff too much, but I mean like I just think the extension core are more fit for Mario Kart than Zocket. Like they just seem like goofier and just would fit in with the Mario Kart style more.
Although to be fair, I know we didn't like mention him in this roster, but like this is a common character that's discussed in a lot of fan rosters is Mr. L as a separate character from Luigi, and like I feel like if that is a viable character, then so should Zocket. Like I don't know. Personally, I just feel like because Mario, it doesn't have that much continuity. There doesn't need to be like hard continuity. There can be multiple of the same character. There can be like things that wouldn't make sense if you peg this as taking place at the end of a certain game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think the extension core, you get 3 for the price of 1 with them.
Yeah, that would be a Koopalings-esque situation that I would be very happy with. But yeah, I just think that they would work so well there. There's like one other character that I will not mention the name of in case people watching this video haven't finished Brothership, but the one very spoilery character I would love to see in Mario Kart 9, but probably wouldn't be added because Brothership is still very recent and this is a spoiler character. But I think it would be cool if they were added in DLC later on, or you can unlock them if you have like Brothership and everything. I just think, they would be such an interesting character to have. They're one of my new favorite Mario characters of all time, I would say. I just love this villain so much.
I just feel like it might be a little bit early now with how new Brothership is, but like definitely, I would definitely be all over that if they did that. But yeah.
But I remember someone on Blue Sky saying they would be too chaotic and they would just end up killing the other racers. But
they would make the game rated M. They said they would make the game rated M.
Yeah. But that would actually, I could actually, that would be a really funny fan game or mod to have like a Mario GTA style Mario Kart with this character going around just like on a rampage. Just imagine it. They're like holding like with their character design. If you know what their character design looks like, it would make sense. But they'd be holding 4 guns and they'd just be riding around on like this crazy looking cart. And they're just like.
Oh, Nintendo, why are you so safe?
I honestly want to see you make this concept at some point.
I don't know if I have the coding know how to do that. The best
or at least
I could
like
probably
artwork.
do is just a skin for Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Like a skin for Mario Kart 7 or something.
Yeah, but moving on, we have Luigi's Mansion. And there's definitely a few characters that I'd like to see from this series, including Egad. Egad is like a long overdue character since he was scrapped from Mario Kart DS. And then Polterpup would also be an interesting character as well, but yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't add Egad all the way back in Double Dash, because that was like fresh off of Luigi's Mansion. They had King Boo there. Like What? Why have we gone this long and they have not added him? Like,
Yeah.
they clearly have added some Luigi's Mansion things, but I don't know why, but they seem to kind of just ignore EGAD nowadays.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because they keep bringing Luigi's Mansion back in some forms, like 2HD, then Lego Luigi's Mansion even had EGAD there, but like they're only keeping him in EGAD in Luigi's Mansion, which is pretty unfortunate. It's almost like how they're handling the RPG characters. It's just really unfortunate, and I
Yeah.
really hope they'll actually add EGAD to the more things. Like, as well as the other Luigi's Mansion characters, like Polterpup, Luigi. I know Luigi is kind of like a clone, but he's at least a separate character and is really interesting looking. Kind of like how Shadow Mario was playable in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. That was actually kind of an interesting pick. So I think that would at least have like a little more.
I could imagine Luigi having just the silliest animations in Mario Kart. Like, imagine if he, like, kind of splatters all over the place when he gets hit by an item, but then reforms.
Yeah. And then another one is Helen Gravely from Luigi's Mansion 3. I think that's another really interesting pick as well. It's kind of unfortunate that she hasn't returned so far. Like kind of in a similar way to EGAD, but I think she would also be a really good pick as well.
Yeah, and like this is kind of a tangent, but like if they're probably not going to do this, but if they did, if they had like a double dash mode, she would go perfect with King Boo.
Yes.
And like speaking of King Boo also, we've already seen him in the footage, and it unfortunately still looks like he doesn't have his Luigi's Mansion design. I hope that's an option. I hope that's an option.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I don't know why they never use his Luigi's Mansion design.
Yeah, they always use his boring design in every game, and some people are saying, oh, that's just a thing that's limited to Luigi's Mansion. Nintendo wants to keep it within Luigi's Mansion. That's so stupid. I want Nintendo
That's the
to
argument everyone... That's the same argument everyone makes for the RPGs.
Yeah, I don't like all of these preconceived ideas we have about like the Mario franchise. Like this has to be in this like the square block has to go into the square hole. I don't like that mindset for Mario. Like we're always like, oh, this has to be like this. This has to be like this. No. I don't want it to be like that anymore.
Exactly.
Why can't we have these cool things? Like, why can't we have EGAD outside of Luigi's Mansion, Helen Gravely outside of Luigi's Mansion, King Boo's design outside of Luigi's Mansion, and then the RPG characters
funny?
outside of the RPGs?
They used to use EGAD, not in Mario Kart, but they used to use EGAD in other things.
Yeah.
Like, he was in Mario Party Advance, I think.
He was even Mario Party 6 as well, with EGAD's Garage.
Oh, yeah. And he was also in the Mario and Luigi games. I think he even had influence in, like, the arcade Mario games by being the creator of Robo Mario. Speaking of which, that character would go hard, too.
Yeah. He would be much cooler than Metal Mario, honestly.
Yeah.
Why can't they be like Sonic and call that the Metal Mario and make that a distinct character and just have like just the Metal Mario power-up be just regulated to a regular power-up? I don't know why they can't just do that.
Yeah. Nintendo, I feel like a lot of the time Nintendo seems like they're allergic to some of the best character designs in the series.
Yeah. But moving on to Donkey Kong, I actually don't have that many picks for this one, but we do have some pretty big heavy hitters here. Even though, like, I feel like Mario Kart already covers like a lot of the basics in terms of DK, but there are a couple notable characters that I really want to see. One is K. Rool. I think King K. Rool would be amazing in Mario Kart. I just want to see K. Rool in general appear in like Mario spin-offs and everything, like he did back in the 2000s with like Mario Super Sluggers. I just like, why didn't they continue to have K. Rool? That just would have been such a cool thing to do.
Yeah, like with the Donkey Kong Country, they've dipped their toes into Donkey Kong Country before. So like, I feel it would be really cool to have more games where King K. Rool and Bowser coexist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the more likely character that they would add from Donkey Kong Country that's not a Kong is Tiki Tong. Because it seems like they only care about Tiki Tong.
I don't. I hope not. That's like, I don't think any of the fan base. I don't think any of the fan base cares about that character.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't hate Tiki Tong. There's a video that brought up like how Tiki Tong is actually an interesting character, and they brought up some good points. I don't hate Tiki Tong, but he shouldn't replace K. Rool. Tiki Tong was a one-off thing. K. Rool is an iconic character.
I feel like Donkey Kong Country kind of began to have the opposite problem that mainline Mario has, where they just threw out their main villain and never used him again.
Yeah.
Whereas mainline Mario relies too much on Bowser, I think, and should have some original villains sometimes, but without getting rid of Bowser.
Yeah, the way they kind of removed like a lot of the basic like Donkey Kong Country OCs and then replace them with like some like completely original characters, which the completely original characters are fine. It was just weird that they did that. That was almost like a very Sonic-esque move that they did for that.
Like, I don't think having Tiki Tong would be a bad thing as long as we also had K. Rool.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other one we have is Cranky Kong. I think Cranky Kong is pretty likely, I would say. Like, since he was involved with, like, the Kart segment in the movie, from what I remember, I think he was so heavily involved with that, I think it would make sense to have him as a playable character.
It's kind of crazy that he was literally he was riding those, he was, like, on this bike, and, like, basically it looked like he was in Mario Kart, even though he's never been in Mario Kart before.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, imagine if in the game they actually has his movie design, or the outfit he had in the movie, as an alt. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. As long as... Yeah, it would probably be just the outfit over his game model, though, I would say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would be really cool. Just as long as they don't actually give him voice clips from the movie.
Oh, that would be insane if they did that. I can't imagine his movie voice in the game. That would be so awkward. That would just be ridiculous. Yeah. But
Speaking of which, though, I actually think that it would be cool if we got alts for all of the characters that were in the movie with their movie designs.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I kind of feel like it was a missed opportunity for them to not do that in Mario Kart Tour, like put in, because that game was like alt central. They were adding alts left and right. So why didn't they add Movie Mario? You know,
yeah.
I feel like that would have been a nice tie-in with the movie.
Oh yeah. And then moving on to Wario, we have a few picks here with Mona as medium, Jimmy T as medium, Ashley as light, Dribble and Spitz as heavy, since that would be two characters, and Captain Syrup as medium. I think Dribble and Spitz would make sense as like two characters together. That is like the one where they're two kind of regular sized characters together. That would actually make sense if there isn't like a double dash mode, because like it just kind of makes sense to have them together as like, because they're always like together in like the taxi in the WarioWare games. So I think that would make sense to have them there. But between them and Mona, I think those would be the perfect fit in Mario Kart, since they both are known for driving vehicles, like Mona with like the scooter, and then Dribble and Spitz with like their taxi that they have. And then like Jimmy T and Ashley, because like they're so well known, Ashley is like a fan favorite. Honestly, like I feel like Ashley is probably the most likely out of all of the Wario characters, I would say, just because she already has a 3D model as well in Smash with the assist trophy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, technically they all have models in was it Get It Together?
Yeah, Get It Together.
They had those little chippy 3D models. but those would obviously need heavy modification to work in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But like it is a starting point.
Yeah. But Ashley could like easily be like translated into Mario Kart, I would say, already using that like Smash design as a base. So I sometimes forget that Ashley has like a full like 3D model like from Smash and everything. I just keep forgetting that. It's just so surreal to think about sometimes. Because like it would just work so well, I would say. But yeah. But then Captain Syrup would also be nice as well, like for some Wario Land representation. Wario Land really needs to come back. Like, there's been so many popular indie games based on Wario Land between Pizza Tower and Anton Blast. And Anton Blast is such an amazing game, but like Wario Land really needs to come back at some point. So, like, maybe they can start to ease interest in it with like Captain Syrup appearing.
Oh yeah. I like I agree that she's probably the best representative for that. I just can't help but think like if there were multiple Wario Land characters, then like imagine if they had like Rudy.
Yeah. Or imagine
like that's like such a bizarre character.
Or another one, Cractus, that actually appeared in WarioWare Move It. Imagine if they have Cractus like scaled down to like a piranha plant size and like have them as like a playable character. That would just be really weird.
It reminds me of how I think Dr. Mario 64 was just like all Wario Land stuff.
Yeah.
That was like one of the most random things, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I just really want to see like Wario characters like appear more. It's like they appear so consistently. That's another thing. Like Nintendo just keeps keeping these characters within their respective series. They really need to appear more often. Like let the Luigi's Mansion characters appear outside of Luigi's Mansion.
It's like Wario. It's like Nintendo has created all these different characters to be associated with Wario, and yet on the Mario spin-off side of things, you have Waluigi, and then on the WarioWare side of things, you have his whole crew there, but they never get to overlap. They never get to cross over. They've never let Waluigi appear in a WarioWare game.
Yeah.
Other than like that one where you could get a bad drawing of him, but like they've never brought the WarioWare cast over into any sort of Mario spin-off type deal where where Waluigi generally appears. So it's like, why this separation? Why is this franchise so segregated? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I just really wish they actually go out and like pull from these different series. It would just be so perfect and like just the perfect opportunity to have like this ultimate Mario roster, like from all of these interesting and unique series from across the Mario like franchise and everything. I don't know why they won't do it. It's just so weird. But finally, I have two more characters that don't really fit into any of the other categories that we had for newcomers. And that's Madame Grape, who would probably be a heavyweight character from Princess Peach Showtime. I could actually see this, like, if they don't do the same thing with Peach Showtime, where they just keep everything from Peach Showtime in that series, I could see Madame Grape appearing, like, pretty easily in Mario Kart 9. Like, it just makes so much sense. And her character design looks really cool, too. So I think that would be really nice to see.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Foreman Spike, which would also make a lot of sense as he recently appeared in the movie. And they could even have both of his designs, both from the movie and like from the games. So I think that would be pretty cool. Actually, like Foreman Spike has like a couple different designs. Like they have like the mobile golf design. They have like the original Wrecking Crew design. And then of course Mario movie Wrecking Crew 98 had a different design as well. They could have those as different alts. I think that would be really cool. I think Foreman Spike would be a really cool character to make as like the next Pauline type character. I would say the kind of push into the roster.
That would be great because like I feel like his movie outfit should probably be his new standard outfit because
Yeah.
that's what like people would recognize now from modern media. But like, and I'm not sure whether because his outfits really aren't the only thing that changed. His entire body shape has changed on a few occasions, and like whether he has a beard or not. Like one of them, I don't think he has a beard.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of weird. I feel like they should at least standardize that part of his design where he like always has the big beard, and is always has the same build, and just swap his outfits out to reference those older designs. I think that's probably the best way to go about it, so that it still clearly looks like the same character.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would definitely make a lot of sense. But yeah, those are our 96 characters that are that we think would be a great pick for Mario Kart 9. But do you have any other like ideas for characters that you want to throw out that weren't mentioned in this list? Like aside from the ones that we just randomly brought up here and there.
So we were just talking about the movie, and I was thinking like the Koopa General from the movie.
Yeah.
Would go crazy. And he's kind of like already relevant to Mario Kart because he's a blue shell.
Yeah.
So like imagine if he was like a racer and stuff, and I just, his design feels very classic Paper Mario coded too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems like a character that would be like a mini boss or like a recurring character, like kind of like Junior Troopa in like the classic Paper, or Lord Crump in the classic Paper Mario games. It really seems like one of those characters. Like, and just seeing him like with like a kind of like a more like regular Mario series-esque design would be really cool as well. This would just be the perfect character to have. Like that would definitely be an amazing pick.
Another like sort of thing that would be cool to see brought back is like some of the human character designs from the old Mario sports games, like Plum.
Oh yeah, yeah, those would be really cool as well.
Because like I feel like those are a much better take on Mario-styled humans than like the new Donkers, which don't even look like Mario characters.
Yeah, the new Donkers are so weird, especially like how they mixed like Pauline into them in like Odyssey. That was so awkward. I mean, I love Odyssey, but it's just that was like one of the weirdest things that it did.
Yeah, I really liked the concept art versions of it better, where the people, the residents of the city were actually like Mario styled.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Yeah. So, and then also like I guess there's like a few other ideas we could have like for Mario RPG characters as well. I mean, I guess any of the partners from Thousand Year Door would be really cool. I know like some might be like a bit more like interesting to see in 3D, like Flurry and different ones like that, but I still think they can all work. Also, the Paper Mario 64 partners we didn't really mention either, but I think all of those could work really well too.
Lady Bo would go great.
Yeah,
Lady Bo would go great. She would fit so much. Because you would already have like the framework with King Boo with the animations and stuff. So like, also, Dreambert, Prince Dreambert, with Starlo. I mentioned that earlier, but I think he would. Prince Peasley, would go hard.
Oh yeah, and I'd even say like even like a few modern Paper Mario characters would be nice to see as well. I'd like to see like, of course, classic Paper Mario represented with like Vivian and Count Bleck and everything. But I'd even like to see. I know this one is kind of weird, but I think Huey would be pretty cool to see since he does have a 3D model. It would be like awkward, kind of like because we have like some characters that don't have legs or anything, but I just think since Huey is kind of like one of the most like popular modern characters, I think
that's interesting. Because personally, when I was thinking of modern characters, modern Paper Mario characters, my mind was immediately going to Olivia and King Ollie.
Oh yeah, I was about to mention them too.
Yeah.
But I'd actually like to see Huey as well.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to imagine Huey moving the steering wheel with his handle.
Yeah, actually,
And
I could kind of see that actually. Like, so I was actually thinking about that at first, but now I can kind of see it. Like, it would look weird, but I don't know, like, seeing his facial expressions, like, change color, like, when he's, like, going around in the race, like, when he gets hit, he like, turns red, and then, like, when he gets, like, a boost or something, he, like, turns yellow to be happy. I think that would actually be pretty cool. But I do think...
yeah, actually, that's actually making me think about, that he would be an interesting choice to, like, mod into Mario Kart 7, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Like,
that might be something I think about in the future.
Huey is like
Also,
one of those characters that belongs in a better Paper Mario game, honestly. Like, I wish he was in a classic style game. But yeah, Olivia and Ollie, I do think they would work a little better, but and I definitely think like Olivia would probably be my like safest pick for like a modern Paper Mario character, but I just think Huey would just be a funny pick.
Yeah, and because I randomly brought up Mario Kart 7 modding there, it reminded me of another character mod that I made that I haven't actually released yet, but it's also a character that I think would be really cool to have in Mario Kart, and that is Koopa Troll.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think Koopa, like, since maybe if they still have that 3D model from many years ago with Mario Pinball Land, they can modernize it and like revamp it.
Even if they don't, I don't think it would be that hard to like take a Koopa Troopa model and model that outfit over it, model that armor and stuff.
Because they already had in
like,
the movie, like the armor that they had in the movie was like a little comparable to the Koopa Trolls, I would say, and they are okay with doing characters like that. And of course, they brought them back in the Thousand Year Door remake, so I think it would definitely be really cool to see them.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I just there's so many. It's just crazy how vast the potential is for a Mario Kart 9 with a big expansive roster. Just how much the potential is for what Mario Kart could be if it just embraced being a celebration of Mario's legacy. And I guess we can take some of the characters we mentioned in addition to this 96. I guess we can take those as possible replacements for if they didn't bring back the guest characters. So
yeah. But yeah, I think like a lot of these would just be amazing picks, I would say. Like, I just really hope that they actually do RPG characters. At least one. At least, like, throw in a brothership character, Gino, please. I just really want to see that.
Please.
Like,
how hard could it possibly be to throw us a bone for once in, like, the decades?
Yeah.
The decades.
Yeah, I would be satisfied with just Gino or Connie or, like, just one of those characters. That would just be amazing. Like, just at least, like, one or two of them. Just, like, and then ideally a few of them. But, like, I just really want that RPG representation there.
We really need to just have, like, a dedicated goal of keeping them in the conversation, because I feel like a lot of fan rosters just don't.
Yeah.
And that really upsets me. A lot of them will go places. We'll still talk about like the WarioWare stuff, the Donkey Kong Luigi's Mansion stuff, but they'll still draw the line at the RPGs, and I don't get that.
Yeah, that's really weird. Especially, I have nothing against WarioWare. I love WarioWare, but like the Mario RPGs objectively still sell better than WarioWare, and and they still leave them out, which is really weird. I don't get that. Like, I don't know, like, they add characters from games that didn't sell as well as some of the RPGs.
I guess some people get the idea that the weirder stuff is better off coming from games that don't star Mario, and like the games that do star Mario should be vanilla. I guess that might be the logic some people go with.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easier to welcome weird things when I can associate them with a different character than Mario. I guess some of people think like that.
Yeah. Or maybe some people haven't.
I don't know.
Maybe some people haven't played the RPGs, and if you're one of those people, what are you doing? How have you not played these amazing games yet? Play the Thousand Year Door remake and Brothership. They are right there on the Nintendo Switch, and will be compatible with the Switch too. What are you doing?
Oh, I cannot wait to see how much better they get in performance on the Switch 2.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day, but that is just a great thought to think of. But yeah, but anyways, I really hope that Mario Kart 9 has an interesting roster. And so far from what we've known about like the 24 playable characters in a single race, it definitely makes things more promising, I would say.
Yeah. It's a new era. It's a new era, so why not do unprecedented things?
Yeah. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out Fawful the Great's channel as well, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!
Bye-bye.